There's a lot of misconceptions that we actually come to this book with, and it causes us to read it incorrectly. A few of those. First of all, here's a good rule. Any interpretation that you come up with regarding Revelation that wouldn't have made sense to a Jewish Christian living under Roman domination in the first century is probably a wrong interpretation. Is John writing to these churches to tell them to watch out for the Apache helicopter that's going to come from China? Maybe not the most encouraging thing for these churches, and so that's a very important thing to keep in mind. Not that there aren't future elements, but we have to understand it in its context first before we move to those future elements. Another thing is, don't read your presuppositions, the things you already believe, back onto the text. So for example, the word Antichrist doesn't occur in the book of Revelation. That surprises most people. They just assume it's there. Or they assume there's some sort of rapture or something like that because they already come to the text with those assumptions, not because they're gleaning them out of Revelation. Another important key in interpreting this book and not having misconceptions about it, don't try to read it like a code. If I wrote my wife a love letter, for example, she doesn't need to overly scrutinize every single word and try to make it like a mathematical symbol or something like this. We don't want to read Revelation like a code. We want to read it as this prophetic, apocalyptic letter. And then lastly, and I think this is really important, don't divorce Revelation from the larger gospel story about Jesus. We do that all the time. All the rest of the Bible we make about Jesus, we come to this book, and all of a sudden we throw our brains out and we just start trying to guess end times details. This book is very much about Jesus. It's very much about how he's going to come back and conquer and how we should stay faithful now though we're persecuted. So we don't want to divorce it from the larger context of Scripture.